Good afternoon, everybody, and welcome back to another Last Epoch dev stream. As always, I'm your host, Mike. Hello, how's it going? Woo! Totally a relaxed start, super prepared. I'm out of breath because I just ran like 10 miles. Yeah, that's it. Yeah. Oh, it's been a busy morning. We had a little bit of realization this morning when I was putting the teasers for today's stream together. I'm like, I have a fresh load of windows. I'm like, oh my god, I have to redo everything to set up the stream again, don't I? Oh no. But it looks like we hammered it out. At least I hope so. Let me know if it's working. If things are horribly terrible, please tell me. If this is your first time here, oh, I got fancy stuff happening already. MacBergs! Thanks to the 4 months in a row. That's fantastic. Very cool. Glad to have you with us. If this is someone else's first time here, though, I sit and I stand and I play Last Epoch and answer your questions. So please put your questions in chat. And please put at Last Epoch Game in the question so I see it sooner. We also stream for charity here. Charity's above my head. It's pretty awesome. We do that because it's awesome. And I'm just going to be playing my casual. We already got an upgrade. Oh, my key bindings are all lost too. Oh no. Oh no. The only one that really matters. Escape doesn't close that window. Mike. That's your fault, Mike. Okay, I think we're getting, there'll be a few times where I have to change some settings, but I think we're doing pretty good. Yeah, hopefully things look better too. We should see better frame rates and less tearing, and things should just be nicer in general now, which is great. Hello, Total Annihilation. How you doing? I feel like it's reasonable to assume a lot of people who are here today will have or will eventually watch the D4 Fireside chat that just happened this morning. It's pretty cool. They said they're doing another one next Friday. I'm like, oh, it's gonna be just like an ARPG Dev Friday tradition or something. Convince PoE to do it too. Have just like a rotating announcement day every Friday. Be funny. Oh yeah, I was gonna go into my inventory to see what I got. More int, love it, love it. We've been testing some new networking libraries. Well, a new networking library that one of our team members has been developing from scratch, actually, for Epoch. And like, I don't know if I can actually tell the difference, but I feel like I can. You shouldn't be able to see much difference in actual live performance of the game. Other than like reduction in when things are going well, it shouldn't appear that anything is different, is what I'm trying to say. But there should be more times that things go well. It's a lot of necrotic resistance. It's actually a sweet ring. Shattering's going. I was working on a few like nicety touch-ups for this panel here. It's gonna be sweet. I'm actually pumped for it. If you're wondering what I'm dancing to, it's the music that's constantly playing in my head. Also, I just realized that there's an at Last Epoch game tag here that I'm not seeing. Am I somehow not signed into that? Uh-oh. Do I need to, like, do something to highlight that? Oof. Who do I chat as? Yeah, okay, yes, I got the chat rules. Hi. Join Twitch today. Okay, I'm just not logged into Twitch somehow on here. Great. No idea what my sign-in info is. How do we do this? Please stand by. Your call is important to us and will be answered in the order it was received. Like 8-factor authentication. Hey, I can see the tags now. Wonderful. Let me catch up on some questions you asked previously on. When will the game be promoted on Steam? I'm waiting for a promotion to buy, like a sale. I'm from Brazil and I'm waiting for a translation into Portuguese too. Yeah, one of those things you won't have to wait too long for, I think. I get asked this question like every stream and I really should know it off the top of my head. So if you go back to any of the last like 8 streams, I'll tell you exactly which languages are coming. I'm pretty sure Portuguese is one of them. And we have a surprisingly high audience in Brazil, which is great, and a lot of team members from Brazil too, which is awesome. What am I getting at? Yeah, how long you have to wait for stuff? Whoa, that was a close one. Calculated. As far as the sale, we're not going to do any sales until 1.0 at the earliest. Like, I don't know when the next sale is going to be, but I know it won't happen before 1.0 launches. Yeah. So there won't be any sales before 0.92 happen. I can tell you that for sure. And as far as translation goes, we are actively translating the game. We call it localization to several different languages, many different languages. There's a whole team doing that right now. It's coming along very well. I know early versions of that are in testing right now, like checking to see how good those are, sending them off to native speakers, things like that, so we can get feedback from community members. We are lucky to have such an international team for that as well, that we have like most of the languages we're translating into, someone on the team is a native speaker. It's great. Most. Oh, yeah, that hurts. This is something interesting as well, the death screen. Like, it just pops up instantly. I bet you've never seen the death animations for any of the characters in the game. I realized this recently. One of them has a horrible bug in their death animation. But you never see it. Dahariel, reset for 27 months. Pew, 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 pew. Way to go, bud. Thank you very much. Glad to have you with us. That's awesome. That's a long 27. It's big numbers. Those are not rookie numbers. Alright. Hey, I bought your game. Thanks. I sank already 100 hours straight. Cool game. Yeah. That's awesome. Wow. I'm glad you're enjoying it. I'm glad you're having fun. Looking forward to trade system. Me too. Alright. That's all the questions. I caught up. Easy. Easy. I'm realizing that my character's a little on the squishy side, and also doesn't do enough damage. So, you know, it's just bad. but it's fun, so it's good. Ooh, I thought that would be a hallway. I love Meteor. I love it so much. Any time frame for 0.92? Yeah, it's I can't give you an exact like, oh, it's roughly this many to this many days away or anything like that. But it is like I can give you some hints and some tips on how to figure out getting close-ish on your own here. So we generally do patches roughly in the 3 to 4 month range. Which I usually don't say, but there was a public post that went out this morning that did say it from Game Director, so I'm going to say it now. And yes, we usually do every roughly about every 3 to 4 months ish, depending on other things that are happening in the genre at our studio. You know, all the sorts of things can affect it. And yeah, so I guess that's a pretty good indicator right there. There's also like maybe a large event coming up soon that we might want to use as a platform to hype something like that up. Possibly, I don't know. Might be a good thing. Just in general, I think a lot of game studios do something like that. You know, maybe. I looked at my playtime actually on the actual game app on Steam, and I'm like, oh man, it looks like I never play it. Then I realized that the time that it shows on there is like 95% of it is just the time I spent streaming, and then I'm like, oh my god, it's actually a fair bit. Just gotta leave it open some to get that up. The wait is killing you, eh? Well, you know, I think it'll be worth the payoff. I'm very excited for what this next patch has to offer. I think there's gonna be some things that are that we haven't even teased. I mean, technically there was one little teaser, but you couldn't tell what it was, and that'll be surprising to people. I think that'll be sweet. Echo conquered. Ooh, don't want that. Do you want this though? Yes, please. What's this? I mean, I used it. Give some hype. I'm gutted I can't be there. Yeah, it's tricky. We've never done a convention in Europe before. We've done PAX a few times. We did LTX. We did QuakeCon. We did a few other things too in the States. But yeah, I'm so pumped. I am so happy I get to go as well. I got asked to go, and I'm like, yes, let's go. A little nervous, but I think it should be fun. One thing that will be a really big difference, it's like a bullet hell game here. It's most of the conventions I've been to before presenting and attending, they close at like 5 or 6 o'clock, and then like everyone goes out for dinner afterwards, yada yada yada. But like this one, I think it ends at 9 is when the floor closes every night. So I'm like, I'm gonna be so wiped. I'm just gonna like, oh, show's over. All right, I'll just fall asleep on this bench right here. Thanks. But you know, we'll take in shifts and relax and downtimes and things like that to make sure we're staying healthy, etc. where we're gonna be in Gamescom. It's the booth number is listed on the announcement post that went out recently. It looks like the word boob. It's like B0BB. So yeah, it's our booth. Or a bob. Yes, I'm 10 years old. Deal with it. Alright. Get that cash money. Dodge rating. Oh. Tripped at the finish line. It's too bad. We also have a business booth at Gamescom too. That's like, I don't know the booth. I don't know the number for that one, but it's like more of a normal booth. Oh, I missed it here. Dahario, let's get to the sub 2. Averil91, thank you very much. Very generous of you. Just so you can use the emotes. Nice. B-088. I was close. There we go. August 23rd to 27th. Thanks, game. one of my friends who's he's like done this sort of thing as well at booths and at like conventions and stuff, and I told him, oh, I'm going to Germany for Gamescom to run our booth. He's like, oh, you're gonna be a booth babe. I'm like, yep. Not as well dressed as them normally, but you know, it'll be fun. I think the int just went out. We need a way that like shows in the tooltip what just happened to it, but like I have no idea how that's possible. So I don't think the notification can tell you. Might be able to. Oh, here's a big one. Hi, first time here. Welcome. Muddos BR asks, the game looks great, thanks. I see people saying LE complexities between PoE and Diablo 3. I love Grim Dawn, Diablo 2, Warhammer 40k Inquisitor, but I had a hard time enjoying PoE due to its complexity and the fact you need to play with at least 4 tabs checking what I'm supposed to do next. Do you have any plans to avoid this issue in the future, meaning allowing new players to have a good time even with the game getting complex over time? Yeah, I think so. We sort of have this philosophy around most things in game where we say we don't want people to have to go to another website, to just enjoy the game. And I'm using the term casual, just like a less hardcore experience of it. So you're not trying to min-max absolutely everything, but you still want to have that information to get a good understanding of what's available. You don't necessarily need to get like the absolute perfect sequencing for everything, but you want to be able to be relatively efficient. You don't want to watch some YouTube video and be like, oh my god, I wasted 8 hours on that. What was I doing? You don't want that situation to happen. So we do try. This sort of started this game guide. And so if you press G in game, it mentions it here as well. Game guide. There's also a little loading screen tip that says but it needs to be more in people's face, I think. And this has a lot of really good information about like specific details on how things work, like specific formulas. This, weirdly enough, I clicked on block. I think this block formula might be off. I think it might be 0.8 instead of 0.6. I can't remember though. You know, there's lots of good info. You can search for these, so I can be like unique, and it like will filter to all the things that uniques have mentions in specifically. And this layout's a little janky. I gotta fix that. Anyways, the point is, so we do this to try and have that information available in game, where with that you should be able to get by and not need to like watch an hour-long tutorial video to like get into the game, so to speak. Oh, it's hot in here already. I have like a big box fan that I usually have running, and it died last week, and I'm just hurting. Also saying, yeah, we try really hard to make our tooltips have really clear and complete information. You know, things like that. We also do, was a good example, loot filters. So like, ideally, this is what the problem is. This is why I'm not. Where's my? Mage leveling. Better than nothing. Yeah, I'll roll with it. I'd really like to, in the future, and this is something we've sort of like, one day we'll make this happen, it'll be cool if we do it. I'd really like to have a way to like share loot filters and possibly like upvote other people's loot filters in game, so you don't have to leave here. You just be like open loot filter browser, and it like lets you like pick out a loot filter that someone else has made and just slap it in. You don't have to go to another website to get it, that sort of stuff. The trading system, when it does arrive at the bazaar, you won't be able to access it from another website, interacting with it at least. There's a possibility we may have some like viewing stuff maybe in the future, but at least the initial version, it'll just only be available in game anyways. So you won't be able to, you won't need to go to the to another tab to work on that sort of thing. Yeah, it's like we try to, we really tried to make it so you don't feel that you're forced to go look at other stuff, but still have the availability for other resources to be helpful if you really want to take things to like the next level. And we see some really good examples of that already in websites that have been around for quite a few years now, do some really cool stuff for people who want to like do like advanced DPS calculations or advanced defense calculations, or just have like a database to be able to search quickly, like, oh, I want to find all the skills that interact with poison, or like really dive into like item possible databases and things like that. So getting into those like really nitty-gritty details, if you want to research the specifics, it's possible on those websites, and we try and support them when we can, which we probably could do a better job of, I think. It was a pretty rambly answer, but I hope it answered your question. If not, please feel free to expand it, and I'll do my best. Oh! Here we go. Yes! Alright. Oh, the main part of this question actually was about as complexity evolves over time, and so I don't have like specific answer for as the game's complexity evolves over time, but I do think that sort of following these same principles we're already paying attention to, I think we can keep things in a really good state with regards to the complexity and the approachability and accessibility. Oh, what am I doing? What am I doing? I mean, that's just a sweet. I can start taking stuff out of here. I do not have room to take stuff out of there. Alright. I think this will take us over the line, possibly into boss territory. Getting close to Empowereds. Is there a plan to reveal the 3 new specialties? I know they drop with 1.0, but I'm excited to see the skills. I can't talk about anything that will be happening. I assume this is about Gamescom. I can't tell you what's going to be happening at Gamescom. I'm very excited for it all. Even if you're not going, there's going to be sweet stuff that you'll be hearing from the convention at that time. Meteor. Never gets old. I was considering switching this to a static orb build, which I think might be fun still, and I might do that just until I find the staff, because I want to be lightning. I don't want to be fire build, which I'm very fire oriented right now still because of Meteor, and I'm kind of considering switching to static orb until then, which is also a very fun build. I haven't seen any reports of like, oh my god, everything's on fire, so that's great. Sounds like the stream's going well. I turned up the settings a little bit from where it was for where I was streaming before as well. It should look a little crisper. I am the one who calls down elements from the sky, not you. Did we make it? 4 short! Ah, I should have killed more stuff. Yeah, I mean, let's just roll through a couple of these. Watched Sing yesterday, so I've got like a whole bunch of like poppy bouncy songs in my head right now. Alright, are y'all still working on surprise mechanic like loot goblins? Yeah, surprise mechanic. Yeah, yes. Yeah. I actually saw a mock-up of one recently that I thought looked really cool. I think it'll be tons of fun to play with. I'm still so tempted to just like slip a loot goblin in because I'm sure I could just make it so easily. Not gonna do that. We don't do that anymore. 4 or 5 years ago, totally would have just done it. Responsible development processes now. Ugh. just kidding. For the record, I think it's a very positive thing. Are there any plans to let us reroll uniques like PoE's 3-for-1 vendor recipe? We don't have anything specific right now. I do think that there's kind of a gap in the usefulness of either like upgraded from unique, so like you're rocking something and then you find an upgrade. No, like the old one's just kind of just chuck it in the trash, unceremoniously discard this item that's helped you achieve great things up to this point, or do you like find some way to incorporate it into your legacy? Yeah, you know. There's definitely room for some sort of mechanic that that lets you take poorly rolled or just outclassed and has been upgraded unique items, things like that, to do get something from them. It's tricky because if you say you had a system whereby and we really contrived here, you've got a unique sword that does and this is intentionally causing a problem to illustrate this sort of overarching problem. So you've got a unique sword that does 1 to 10 damage. 1 to 10 melee physical damage. That's all the unique does. And you have some sort of system in the game where if you take 3 of them and you sell them to the store altogether, and then you get 1 out that pops out, and it's the combination of all the rolls. It just adds the rolls together. So you have like you have one that's 1 damage, one that's 3 damage, one that's 4 damage, and suddenly you get 1 out that's 8 damage. Just all of them put together. Obviously, that's a problem. The system like that has tons of problems all over the place, but it does give the opportunity for D-Darks has resubbed 2 months in a row. Thank you very much. Can you guys nerf Sork just for the meme? No. If anything, Sork's getting a ton of love. What was I saying? Oh yeah, yeah. And so you get the situation where someone can, where the best possible way to. Okay, so let me add something else to this scenario that we're talking about. The 8 to 10 range unique swords, 8 to 10 damage range unique swords, only drop from super high end areas, but the 1 to 3 range unique swords can drop from really low level area. And so if you have this system whereby you can take the lower versions and combine them together to get the bigger versions, in some cases, the most efficient way you can farm is by farming in an area that's way below your character's level. And there's a lot of ways that something like this can happen. And this is sort of just, I'm trying to make a really obvious, simple example, and it's ballooning way out of control. So sorry about that. But there's this problem of, is the thing you can do with the low or the bad versions of these items something that's good enough to like offset the need to find the high end items? Might be a good way to put it. And one of the most commonly requested things in a unique combining type or like something to use a unique item for system generally comes in the form of, hey, I want to combine like 5 0 LP items into a 1 LP item, you know? And the ratio on how rare some of those jumps are might seem a little absurd on how many you have. You're like, alright, well, you can find 4,000 Ravenous Voids, and you can have a 1 LP Ravenous Void. It's not that bad. But it suddenly becomes a not consistent ratio. Because you're finding it's so much easier to find a 4 LP version of Alchemist Ladle. You're probably finding a 4 LP version of a super low tier unique before you're finding even a regular Ravenous Void. Maybe not, but in and around there probably. And so that's where some of the trickiness comes from. I know this original question that I'm veered way off course from is the suggestion here, which is a much safer suggestion, is just letting you take 3 of them and re-roll them, and so it re-randomizes them, and I'd say it's just another crack at the item dropping, and that might be possible too. I believe that there is some system that we could implement which would let players utilize undesired uniques in a way for a small incremental bonus to work towards some sort of larger goal that would result in more consistent gear upgrade curves. Do I have any idea what the specifics of that look like? Do I hope we can figure it out eventually? Oh yeah. It's not something we're actively working on right now, so it's not like it's not something that people have in the works, or I haven't even heard an internal pitch for a system like this recently. Sometimes you just gotta drop the meteor hammer. Merge direct to prod mic. We actually literally can't right now. Not because of a problem, but because we've set up systems so you can't just push straight to main. You have to get a pull request approved by at least one other person. So there's no push straight to main. Which was oh my god, run! Ah, escape! It's gonna get me! Nope. Just alright. Cool, let's just chill, right? Boom, boom. Yeah, Bill. Boom, boom. All right, a little bit of XP. Do we have capped crit avoidance? I don't think so. Wait, where's crit avoidance? Oh, no, wait, there it is. 94. I mean, that's pretty high. There's our final version of these boots. They're okay. We got a little unlucky on that dodge rating roll. No, I can't do it. So much shred here. The 25% increased damage might just be the way to do it. Endurance isn't terrible. Do we have culling? I don't think we do. Let's go for a damage node. Hello, Mike in chat. How long until full release, approximately? We don't have a set release date that we are prepared to give an approximate timeline for. It has been said by other people in public forums in the company that our internal goal is this year. And nothing's changed since then. But you didn't hear it from me. No, things are going really well. So frequently that I'll like look at our like internal patch notes channel and I'm like, how did we not have that in the game yet? Like, what were we thinking? And you're like, well, because it wasn't easy to do, and we just developed the tech for it last week, so okay, fine. I watched the Diablo 4 campfire stream and Mike speaks far more better than dudes in Diablo 4 dev stream. I think that they were under a lot of pressure and in a really difficult spot. I think it's really hard to go into a stream like that knowing that the sentiment is so negative. I think they handled themselves really well. And you could tell they care a ton about the game. And really want it to do well. And be fun. That's what I heard from them. Oh, careful, Mike. Okay, here we go. Nice. Nice. Shrine, because I said so. Carry the shrine over. Do you guys ever do this? Like, you'd find a shrine in like D2. You'd find a shrine, and like prepare, like, find the shrine, leave it, do the whole like bail run, like get to the throne, and then you like port back to the shrine really quickly to like grab your XP boost. And someone had been watching the party screen and they knew you'd done that and they grabbed it right before you and you get nothing and you miss the first wave and it's terrible. That was one change in a one of the D2 mods I used to play a bunch was that curses and shrines could coexist. So like getting cursed didn't nuke a shrine off you, which was so nice. This made shrines so useless in Chaos Sanctuary. Alright, next question. Remember to tag me. Yeah, alright, let's look back. You know, it was right after as well. Do you guys plan to buff Volcanus, Alluvion, and Battle Mage to make hybrid spell melee builds more viable? Well, one thing in general that will help Spellblade, when Runemaster does come out, it will have, like we're effectively giving it another, what is it, 20 or so nodes, that'll be available to it. So it's gonna get more options. Then as well, it's gonna get another 2 skills that it'll have access to. So like more options again. And I know more options doesn't always directly translate into like more damage, but just having those more options will, in general, help. I think, to just sort of round out the class, round out the things it can do. We're also taking a little bit of a look at, I know working through the passive tree in Runemaster, we took a couple nodes from Sorcerer. I think we tweaked a couple nodes on both Sorcerer and Runemaster, or Spellblade at the same time as well. So there's things that are that when that eventually does come out will help Spellblade in general. I don't have any information on specific plans for buffing specific items. It's possible if you think there's a good reason to do that. I'm not saying there is or isn't, but and you want to get a conversation started that we might see it and consider it as an option. Best place to do that is on our forums. Feedback section. Feedback and suggestions section. I love reading the things. I don't reply very often, but I do read them all. I love seeing those things that people come up with as like cool ideas, and it's really fun to see because there's certain things that just like don't get even suggested internally because people are like, well, I know we can't do that. But just seeing those suggestions pop up are always really cool, even if we can't do them sometimes, which is frustrating. But I do like to see those like what if suggestions that are like, this would be cool, wouldn't that be neat? I just find those fun. My goodness me. I was gonna invite you to my birthday party, but not anymore. We're having barbecue though. I do think that in general, like the spell melee hybrid build style is something that will probably find more purchase in the like what am I trying to say? Hybrid spell good in Spellblade in general, but also focusing on elemental damage itself. Because it's a like a more specific but not super specific, so you don't have to you don't have to like stack just melee or like one specific element. Try not to die here. That went better than I thought. Yeah. Yeah. The frailty is really nice. Just have to shatter. It's a shatter target for sure. We're just gonna do that. Two better than none. All right, 670. It's time to suggest a rock and or roll. Alright, theoretically, if I just want to focus on one specialized skill, what is the max plus level of skill that an item, on an item and a character? I think right now it's 29, just based on like what's just possible of combinations. There's no hard-coded max. So you're just looking at like what combination can I do to get this as high as possible. Oh, I can see you typing. Just realized that my Slack notifications came through, don't they? Oh. No. Llama, that was you. Okay, if I move, then this fight's gonna start. Oh, it doesn't. Yeah, okay, here we go. It's plus skills. Yeah, there's no like actual like, okay, the cap is 30 or something, and oh my goodness, whoa! I'm not fast enough to do this fight properly. I'm oh my goodness, just like this is how you hit all of them. I don't know why I thought that'd be a good idea. Oh, okay, I gotta pop some of these early. Wow, this is going poorly. I need so much more damage, mobility, survivability. I don't think there's any way to beat this. Accidentally portals. Yeah, our move speed is too low. I need to put boots on for this fight that are higher move speed. And I have them. That was one of the big things I was worried about when I was switching out these boots. Was the move speed wasn't high enough. And we get stuff off killing things, but we don't kill things very often in this fight. And we use teleport as a DPS boost too. I don't know how we haven't died. There's been like 3 times where I'm like, oh, I'm dead. Okay, I gotta get another question on this to keep talking. But if I look away, chances of me dying is like guaranteed. Since there should be a story behind needing to approve merge direct to prod. Yeah, there's always a story behind that. And pop these. Little stagger there. There's so much in this fight that's about like managing ads, and like some of them are weird ads, like these lightning things you gotta walk over and pop. Oh, we got there. Skill shard drop rate. Yes, please. I mean, lightning spell cast speed's pretty sweet. It's the decimate item though, so. Might be a fun build to do. Is there like anything these could do to hurt you? What's that? Oh, blind. Blind's such a funny thing. We did it first try! No problem, that deserves a celebration. And it's a Turtley Boy! Hey, Turtley Boy. How you doing? Wow, turtle. All right. Is there a lot of new content? A lot of content for early access. Diablo 4 was fun now, but looking to check this out. I'd say there's, as far as early access games go, I think we do have a pretty high amount of content. It doesn't have anywhere near the PoE levels of content. I'll tell you that right now. But there's a much more robust endgame than like Diablo 2, for example, which really doesn't have much of an endgame at all. We're definitely looking at expanding our endgame still, and that is like a major thing that's gonna, like, over the next year, there's gonna be lots of upgrades and expansions to what the endgame loop is, and what options there are, things you can do, things you can get, all those sorts of stuff is gonna expand quite a bit, like focused around endgame in the like first few cycles. I also just saw the O'Neill with 2 L's. It's definitely a Stargate reference. Yeah, there it is. I was watching Stargate. Now that we're on the topic, I'm gonna take the opportunity. There's an episode. There's a time travel episode where they they end up going to. So it was like one of the season finales, and they like mess up the past, and then like their alternate reality selves get a message from them in their past, and they have to go back and refix what their alternate reality messed up. It's how fish get in O'Neill's lake in his cabin. Anyways, and Sam is like hyping. It's like Mousy Sam is hyping herself up to like tell off her boss about a paper, and she makes a reference to like her like intro line at the very beginning of the series, where she's like, and just because my reproductive organs are on the inside instead of the outside doesn't mean you can. And then she's like, that's dumb. Who would ever say that? Like, do I actually sound like that or something? And it was just such a great little nod back to the kind of cringy intro she got. I thought it was neat. That's what you get when I watch random Stargate episodes. Be closer, smaller circle, run it faster. Yes, be better at the game. I'm on it. We did that one, didn't we? Because we're awesome. Let's go do some Spirits of Fire. Yeah? Yeah. Boom. 1 of 3. Oh, what season am I talking? That's like season 8 or something. Maybe season 6. I will tell you. It was Mobius. Oh wow, season 8, episode 19. I was right the first time. Nice. Yeah, Stargate is not afraid to poke fun at itself. It was the episode where Vala Maldoran was pitching TV show ideas to the TV exec that was filming a TV show of Stargate, and she was just pitching other sci-fi shows, and the TV exec was just like calling out which shows they were, and she's like, yeah, you got me. Okay, next one. You got me. Next one. And then she pitches Farscape, which is the show that the actress played on previously with her co-star that came over. And when it was like season 10 or 11 when the big reboot happened in Stargate SG-1, and the TV exec just has no idea what Farscape was, and he's like, yeah, you got me, never heard of that one. And so they're like poking fun at like she's poking fun at her own show with that, which I thought was really funny. Oh my gosh, there's a giant thing on the screen. How long has that been there? Sorry. Back to Last Epoch. Let's talk about the game I'm actually playing and working on. So Last Epoch. There's this one episode of Last Epoch where the main character has to go back in time to fix. Is there a reason not to have server-side file for loot filters? It's not a big deal. I just noticed it since I recently reset my PC. Yes, is the answer to your question. There is. Do I remember what it is? No. It may have just been something as simple as like, if we don't change anything, it'll just keep working because it's entirely a client-side thing. And we just haven't got around to fixing to implementing that yet. I think that's probably all it is. There's a lot of stuff like that that's kind of like fallen through the cracks of like, man, we really should get that done, and the person who's going to implement that, it's like, well, we got this really important thing that you got to start on right now. We'll get back to it. Don't worry, we'll get back to it. And it's probably on some list somewhere. But I've been doing a lot of those tasks this week. It's been great, actually. Tons of little things that I'd forgotten about, and I'm like, yeah, that'd be great. Let's get that in. Also really nice to just like get a checklist and like start checking things off on it. Oh, it feels good. I'm a simple man. When that checkbox fills in, chills. I feel like if it was for offline, then why not have both server and client side, right? Yeah, super matter, to be honest. Yeah, it's I don't have a good reason. I'm sorry. I know we've talked about having, and it's something I mentioned earlier in the stream, is having like a server side storage for loot filters that you can search, sort, and upvote. I think that would be a really huge improvement for new player accessibility, because we do drop a ton of loot, like just a ton of loot, and the vast majority of it for any one particular build is completely useless. Not all of it's completely useless, but like there's 100 pieces drop, and chances of one of them being good for you is pretty low, which is why a lot of people filter out huge amounts of items. And that process of setting up a loot filter, I think, is a little daunting for some players. And we try to keep it relatively simple to do a basic one and tutorialize it, that sort of stuff. And there are, if you are in this boat right now, there are some fantastic ones that other people have set up that are kind of more generic loot filters, or like it's like this is just a good mage loot filter, like it'll get you started and you can customize it a little bit, or they've got like a whole bunch of rules that are turned off and you can be like, oh, this one sounds like something good for me, and turn some of them on. So I think Heavy has one on the forums. I know I've seen a bunch of other ones too, so if you are in that boat, check it out. Because yeah, loot filters are a really important part of making that experience fun and good. And when I play on stream, I'm not paying attention to the loot like at all, because I'm more here about the stream than I am about actually like improving this character as much as I can. But I try and have fun with it too. That's why my loot filter is not super awesome. I know it's not about the game yet, but who would win between Teal'c versus Worf? Traditional weapons in tow, Teal'c, no question. Hand to hand, that's a tough one. I don't know. I'm relatively new to RPGs. Welcome, bburton02. Hope you're having fun. But I'm having a blast with Ellie. Awesome, great. Not sure if it's being discussed or even possible, but what if at the end of an arena run / mono an after action report popped up, documented the damage each ability did? That way it could be used as a damage test build crafting setup. We very intentionally don't have a way that says, in this thing you just did, here's how much damage you did. We don't really have any plans to change that. However, I do really like, and this is something that's been pitched before that I've seen, and I fully support it, is having some sort of like after action report for certain activities. Whether it's like you complete the campaign and something tells you about like your story throughout the campaign. This harkens me back a lot to Civ 5 and Civ 6 with mods, where you'd be able to, at the end of a game, there's the map. You see a time lapse version of the map that shows the territory that changed over the course of the game, where like each second is one turn in the game, and it like slowly grows, and you see like, oh, this empire grew and fell here, and that sort of stuff. And having those like retrospectives on this long thing you just did, this long challenge you just undertook, and helps you like relive that process, I think is a fantastic thing to do. And it's also valuable in shorter form things as well, like the arena, which isn't that short, but also in monoliths as well. And I think that there's room for maybe like more vague things, like you used meteor 8,000 times or something, I don't know, and or maybe the largest hit you did, the single largest hit you did, came from this skill. Things like that I think would be really good. Having it be super specific and detailed is tricky, and I don't think we have plans. I know we don't have plans for it. I don't think we I think it would be a tough sell to get one of those in. Yeah, because there's like even if you do it in like like say you at the end of the monolith, it shows you the like the total damage that a certain ability did and the like biggest hit that an ability did or something like that. I mean, like, you can, as horribly inefficient as it is, you could just like walk into a monolith, cast one spell, uh, portal out, or let yourself die intentionally, and like get that report or something, and like use it for like the least efficient DPS calculator of all time. And as soon as we add a tool like that, like the possibility to get to have something like that work in game, the conversation immediately shifts to give us a quality of life improvement to make this easier because we already have it. And if we take it out, the conversation becomes give us it back. And there's a little bit, it's a little bit harder to take things away than it is to not add them, even if the reason's exactly the same for both of them. We are working on, this is one of the things we've been working on this week, is the mini map on like lighter areas. Like, you just can't see it at all there, and like you can see it here with this darker background. So like having something that's like adaptive, or just like finding the right mixture of Eye of Newt and Tail of Muskox to make it play nice. I'm currently operating under the theory that we're going to have some sort of adaptive overlay map for what type of zone you're in. So like we'll have to have zones tagged as bright or dark, and then like change the UI slightly for bright or dark zones. Would be my guess. We do have a couple zones that like as you move through them, it like flips. But we can't do, like, see on this map, even on the brighter areas, it looks fine because it has that background. But we can't put that background on your whole screen because it just look awful. I know there's some adjustments to some zones that are also happening as well to just like make this less of a problem, because we're also looking at like other UI elements that sit on screen that maybe don't look as fantastic in the. I'm trying to position one of them really specifically so it's really terrible. It's frustratingly not that terrible in this scene, to prove my point. Sadly, it's not working. Why do you have to be so good when I'm trying to say you're bad? Ugh. That did like no damage to him somehow. Oh my god, he has so much health! Okay. The quest logs on the right here. It's kind of hard to see in this scene right here. So we're working on improving that as well. There's all sorts of little things that we're improving. Polish, touch-ups, pretty. Next question. Here we go. Hey, how's it going? I hope you guys are having a great week. I am having a great week. I was wondering, what was your view on the super rare uber uniques or super rare affix uber shards from design standpoint? Or would it work on Last Epoch? Is there one already? Thanks, keep the great work. Yeah, so I think that there's room for like super chase items. And this is, I'm basically just parroting what they said in the D4 stream. So I'm assuming you're talking about the D4 stream here. The D4 situation. Having them, and I'll tell you how we've also tried to solve this problem, and how we may not have been perfectly successful with that, and all sorts of stuff. Because this is a very difficult problem to solve here. So you have, and I think there's like an extremely fine line where this feels fantastic, and like a tiptoe over the line one way or a tiptoe over the line other way, and the whole thing just crumbles. And you can be like unbelievably close to it being great, and it's just awful. You know, like, it's so close. So there's this like, there's this big desire and big need for chase items to happen in the game, things that that require high powered characters, require like putting in some effort to like really get there, having them be chase items, things that you're aspiring to get that maybe you're not guaranteed to have, things like that. But I think the subtext request there is, and I this is sort of like how I feel about it myself. What I'm talking about is like, yeah, I want these super rare things to exist, but I want to find them. And you can't, everyone can't find them. If there's these chase things to happen, like it can't be something that is expected to be found. They're chase, you know, like these are not things that you should be like, I'm gonna plan my build around having this chase item. And I think that's where the big problem comes in, is that when you start having these very powerful chase items, well, like by definition, that kind of like turns a build on. It kind of like makes it work awesome, right? And so there's this, you're trying to make these chase items that are rare but not too rare, powerful but not too powerful, and also fun but not too fun, because then everyone wants them. And it's like, everything's like a, there's this like too good line on like 3 or 4 different axes that you can cross. Too good's the wrong term, but hopefully I'm making sense. And so I think there is room for things like this to happen. And one of the ways we've tried to incorporate this a little bit is in our exalted items and legendary items. So you can have these versions of these items that are that provide their unique effects and functionally enable builds and functionally enable and enable certain functionalities. But then getting like LP versions of them to get more stats on them, so that they're better items. They're these chase item versions, these chase versions of these same items that are very difficult to acquire, and they're cool, and it's like, oh, you got like a really good version of that. And I think the perennial example of things like this is just wide roll ranges, or several roll ranges and several wide roll ranges in on high tier items that are like accessible but still really difficult to get super good versions of them. So like I guess I'll use Spirit. I think is actually a pretty good example of this in a Spirit runeword in Diablo 2. It's a very low tier item. It's really easy to get a Spirit weapon, and the shields are not that bad either. You just gotta find a white monarch shield, and you know that you usually get one of those by the time you play through the campaign. And but then getting a perfect 35, 25 cast speed, getting 2 perfect ones it's kind of a chase thing. You know, like it takes a while to do. You still got a Spirit Shield. It's not terrible to do, but like it takes some time. And there's tons of other examples in Diablo 2 runewords and things like that. And so yeah, we try and have these versions of items that are the same thing with smaller numbers, effectively, that you can get to turn on your build and have it be functional. But these super rare versions are out there. Now, where we may be stumbling a little bit with this is the point that we've put the player expectations on. This is just oh, it is this thing I have to kill. Great. The point that oh gosh, stuff's happening. That was weird. The fact that a 4 LP Ravenous Void exists might be a mistake. Like, no one has found a 4 LP Ravenous Void yet on live. I don't know for certain, but no one's found one. I'd put money no one's found a 3. I'd suggest probably no one's found a 2 yet. You know? but the fact that these technically could exist, even if they're just like this, it's the same item with just like slightly better stats. But the fact that it is theoretically possible, but practically impossible for the even above average or like hardcore or try hard, like dedicated, committed player, it's possibly problematic. And I'm not sure the best way to like properly communicate what the expectations of the item tier and rank that you should be able to get are, because if someone's just like going on to like Last Epoch Tools or Tunk Lab or some other third-party site that's like lists out all the possible items, or you go into a build calculator and you're like, what could happen? Like pie in the sky, what's my best in slot for all these things? And then you look at this like best in slot pie in the sky perfect build, and you're like, I literally can't ever expect to find any of these items because they're all so unbelievably mega rare. But I can find 95% versions of these that are basically the same thing, but just like not quite as pushed. And it becomes a little less satisfying. I think because you're never really looking at like even like a single slot and saying, oh, that slot's like completely finished and there's like no way I can improve it. And that drive to push for better items, I think, becomes diminished because it feels like there's this really long tail. Yeah. I think you end up in the situation where you have like here's the like the total gear. This is better. Better gear goes this way. And you start with like normal items. You spend a little time with that, and you get your magic and your rare items. And like this is the way I think it feels, which is different than the way I think it is. And then you start getting exalted items, and you look at these like. You look at, hey, there's this like exalted items, and there's like tier 2 exalteds and tier 3 exalteds, and there's like tier 4 exalteds and like 4 LP uniques and things like this. It's like way up here, and most people are like stuck in this range, and they see all of this at the end, and they go, I want that, but there's no way I can get it. And there's the expectation is that you're going to be sitting over here, and that's where the content's balanced and where the game's balanced, and what we expect people to hit is be in this range of like rares and a couple exalteds and a couple like 1 to 3 tier LP uniques and things like that. And you see these like, well, technically it's possible that you could get a perfect like 4T7 exalted item and a 4 LP Ravenous Void and smush them together and get that perfect like 4T7 Ravenous Void legendary. Yeah, it's technically possible. No, it's not gonna happen. And maybe it's just the fact that it's technically possible is the whole problem. And like maybe there's certain items you need to be like, well, this item's capped at 1 LP. This item's capped at 2 LP. And I really hate that idea myself. And I think it kind of diminishes that what if possibility. It you won't see, like, maybe eventually you'll see that time you go to the bazaar and there's that item that's sitting there, there's that 2 LP Ravenous Void sitting there, and you go, oh my god, someone found that. What? There's that 3T7 item that's there, like, oh my god, someone found that. What? And I think it's tricky to find that balance in, like, there's this, oh my god, maybe it could happen one day, and no, it couldn't. And I think a lot of people have a tough time understanding really low or really high, like really low odds, really big numbers, really tiny numbers. Humans, we don't have a good frame of reference for it. And like, it's really easy to say, like, oh, you have 100 of something. You can quantify that. You know what, like, if you were to say, like, oh, I have 100 pencils, I bet you could visualize pretty close to what 100 pencils looks like. But if I said you have 1 billion pencils, you understand what the number 1 billion means, but I guarantee you that you have no, like, if you like how big of a volume is 1 billion pencils? Like like even try and compute it into smaller objects and like build that up into a space, like you're still gonna be so far off. And yeah, I kind of just rambling at this point. Sorry. These are the things I think about. Where I'm going with this is, I think the main problem with having super mega chase items is if those items are functionally and mechanically unique and enable certain playstyles. And I don't think this is a hot take at all. So if you have some item that is on the same tier as a 4LP Ravenous Void, and there's like of the 100,000 people playing some game, one of them will ever find it. But that item, if you do find it, it unlocks a completely new playstyle and build and cool mechanic. So one person gets to experience this amazing thing, and everyone else has to be like, "Oh, wouldn't that be cool?" I think that's where the problem comes in. It's that when you can't do the cool thing. If you could do the cool thing, but maybe you can't do the cool thing as fast, it's way less of a problem, I think. Kahelian has reset for 3 months in a row. Thank you very much. Welcome, welcome. All right, I'm gonna get back to questions instead of just rambling. Sorry about that massive detour. I think you've all learned a spoiler for sitting through that, because that was rough. This one, okay. I didn't make this.
Stay with me.
That's it. Yep, there we go. Hey Mike, Judd mentioned there's a new mobility skill coming in 0.92 that internally is a team favorite. Yes, I read that this morning too. Is there anything else you can share, and is it a favorite of yours? It's a favorite. I think that it's one of my favorite movement skills. Yeah, I think it's a ton of fun. It's not my favorite movement skill. Shift is still my favorite movement skill. But I think it does a lot of really cool mechanical stuff that is fun and interesting, and I just did the skill tree for it. Well, not on my own. I was working on implementing the skill tree. Be clear on that. And I think there's a lot of really cool, mechanically interesting and unique stuff happening in there. Had to develop some new tech to make it work, all that sort of stuff. Yeah, it's fun. It's cool. It's interesting. Its base. It has. Let's give a tag tease. It has a tag that is one of these things, and can be converted to another one of those things, and possibly another one of those things. I think it has three different versions it can be. It's actually good info. That's all I got for you. It does it, but implicitly by me saying that it can do damage as well. It's probably pretty obvious. Hopefully. I've been trying, rather unsuccessfully, to create a generic loot filter that works for all classes and builds. Something like Neversink's filter in PoE. Could it actually be done? Yeah, nah, it's. I think it's really tricky to do. I think it's possible. I haven't heard this suggestion before, but I think it could be possible to create rules that only activate when you're playing as specific classes. That can help things stay a little bit more generic. Unless you just want to find loot for all classes. There's just so many class-specific, what am I trying to say? Specific affixes So like you come, especially in idols as well, but you come to here class specific, and these categories 50, 44, 56, 50, 64. Like there's just so many things in this list. And some of them are just so specific that having a generic one is really tricky. So like, okay, you're playing a the difference between playing a bow rogue and even just a melee rogue. Like suddenly this is either really useful or really not useful. And you don't really care, like you want to see like super strong items for anyone, you know, but not like the interim items. You only want to see like the interim items for the class you're playing currently. So I don't. You could probably make like an end game one, like a high tier end game one that did that, I think. But having any sort of like low like leveling progress version of it, I don't know how it's possible with the way we have it set up right now. We are adding in more options, so hopefully it might help a little bit. Arnie Banani 1 2 3 4 5 6. Welcome, glad to have you with us. Thanks for subbing. Hope you're having fun. Oh, what's up, Mike? What's up, Zuckerberg? I'm here to ask if there's any improvements being made to alleviate the issues stalling community events coming soon. Button to reset solo account found online or anything else. I don't know. I haven't heard anything specific. But I love the bug squish. It's certainly possible, sort of thing we could be looking at. Someone may also be working on that. I just don't know. That is the style of stuff I've been working on this league. Alright, Cyborg Wars asks, one thing that a lot of people enjoy in PoE are the divination cards. Can that be farmed as a way to target farming a really rare item? I know Last Epoch already has a bit of target farming, and it's going to be more in the CUEF guild, but I do think it's a decent system that gives the players a sense of progression towards bigger goals instead of being nothing, boom, 100%. Yeah, I agree, and this is something that I've talked about for sure in the in what one of the things that makes RuneWords so good as well, in that you're building towards something. It doesn't have to be something specific because pieces can be used in multiple places. I think that's one of the big differences. So that was one of the things we looked at when talking about, hey, what are we going to do for our legendary system? And in that you can work towards it slowly by combining multiple items together. Now, because it's only 2 items instead of up to 6 that are in RuneWords, for example, or way more in divination cards. Well, way more, but yeah, way more. And yes, but that general idea of mechanic where you're building towards something, and you get pieces to the puzzle that happen over time, I do really like. And I'm sure you'll see it pop up again. Have you considered adding random encounters to monoliths? Like Butcher and Treasure Goblin D4, you'll give some excitement to otherwise monotonous farming. Yes, we have. Yeah, I've yes. I don't know how else to say it. We do have plans for I call it unexpected content. Things that just random encounters, unexpected content. Something where you hop into a monolith and you don't know it's going to happen before you start. As you come around the corner, hey, something unexpected, cool. Implied quests, that's what I call Treasure Goblins. Where it's this like, hey, this is a cool thing and I'm going to run from you. So the quest is, catch me and kill me before I blow up. Or before I disappear, before I escape. And so yeah, that style of content is something we are working on and will be seeing show up in the not too distant future. Two down, one to go. Is 4LP theoretically possible on every unique? There are 3 uniques that there is a version of them that it's possible on, and the normal version is not possible on because they're quest rewards. So there's 3 quest reward items that can be obtained through the necrotic fire dungeon, the soul gambler. There we go, nailed it first try. And so the quest versions throughout while you're getting them during the storyline, the first time you get them all, cannot have LP on them at all. This is to avoid people basically farming quests over and over again in the middle of the campaign, which you think would just be boring, in order to try and get LP versions of these rewards. And then, because we don't want people like making new characters, get to this point, delete it, make a new character, get to this point, delete it. Like, that just sounds awful. So you can't. Those are always 0 LP. And then in the Soul Gambler later on in the game, the dungeon reward, you can get LP versions of those same uniques, and they're tweaked a tiny little bit, but they're basically the same thing. And they're actually a little better. Anyways, those ones can have LP. All uniques that can have LP, which is almost every unique in the game, can spawn with 4 LP. Anywhere from 0 to 4. There are no hard restrictions on any items at all on how much LP they can spawn with. Having said that, if you go, Tunklab has this laid out really well. I just found this. LPL. So you can see, here's a little. So you can see these right here. They're 200 each. Those ones are the 3 quest reward items, and you don't get those. Those will not spawn with LP. So other than these 3, but there are you can get these through the Soul Gambler still. So it's sort of all of them, sort of not all of them. It's I don't know how you want to describe it, but it's effectively all of them. This is this number here is the level that they are. I should have captured the top of the table as well. It doesn't matter. This is the effective level that the item pretends that it is when it's deciding if it's going to have LP or not. So you see some items like Prism Wraps, their base level is 5, but their LPL is 90. So you can. It's really easy to find and equip Prism Wraps. It's really hard to find and equip legendary versions of Prism Wraps. So when Prism Wraps is deciding if it's going to be a legendary potential item or not, when it drops, it pretends that it's a level 90 item for that calculation. And the higher level item is, the lower chance it has to have legendary potential. So all these, I've sorted this by LPL, and all these ones you see at the top are the least. I should be using Wings of Argentus as an example because it's actually the least likely to have legendary potential. So all these ones up here, you're like anything that's on this list right now, like you find one of those legendary with any legendary potential, and it's a huge win. Yeah. and then you look at some at the bottom of the list that are like either just 0 or like they just don't have any, they just use their own level normally, things like that. And it's like you can see some that you're like, oh my goodness, that is insanely easy to get them. Alchemist Ladle is an example. Like Falcon, Keeper's Glove, Fighting Chance, Alchemist Ladle, Hammer Labyrinth, Grimoire, Hellreach, Throne of Ambition, Trinity of Flames, Hearthon's Vow, Peak of the Mountains, Firestar's Torch. All those things are pretty darn easy to get legendary potential on, which is sweet. that info is just on TunCloud's just unique page. I think that information is also on Last Epoch tools. It's just I knew that one would be laid out really easy to take a screenshot for the stream. Slow, not a big fan. Mark for Death, not a big fan. I can have that though. Next question. Cyborg Wars asks, I think this issue, the want for LP Rev Void thing, thanks for contextualizing the question, I appreciate you, will get less prominent as the game gets more content. I agree. And items and stuff, since it'll take players longer to get stuck than it does right now. Since I feel people who are saying this are the ones who are playing for hundreds of hours or exhausting the game content as it is currently. Yeah, there is, we do, so I agree, I definitely agree that the issue is exacerbated by that, sort of like people exhausting the content. Totally agree there. There is, it's not completely just that. Like there is an issue with the item acquisition curve plateauing at certain points that we don't want it to plateau, and we are working to fix that. So I don't want to say like, oh, it'll get better. Just hang on. It'll get better naturally. Don't worry. We're not going to do anything. We're just going to let it get better. No, we're not doing that. We are going to actively work to improve the situation. Always, we're always going to actively work to improve the game. But we do want to acknowledge that it's not perfect, and we are working to improve it. It'd be boring if it was perfect. Well, it wouldn't be boring for all of you. It'd be boring for me. We're not intentionally making it not perfect. That would be stupid. Be great if it was perfect, though. Could you imagine? All right, next question. Run away, Mike. Run away, Mike. Oh my God, run away, Mike. I'm gun shy from fighting a bunch of elite versions of these. That wasn't so bad. Okay. Would it make sense to scale the possibility with game time or through some system? It sort of feels bad in some areas when something is near unobtainable but possible, just like why have it exist? It's not necessarily going to happen. Yeah, and so I totally get this like, why have it if it's not possible, right? And that's sort of the like, okay, well, maybe we just cut off some of them to not be possible anymore, right? And the reason we have it, even though it's not practical for someone to expect it, is because it doesn't have they don't have a large mechanical impact on the gameplay, and aren't required to complete any content that's in the game. It's more of a trophy than anything else. Yeah, like trophies don't do anything. Like why have a gold medal at the end of the Olympics for the winner? Like it doesn't do anything, right? But it's awesome. And I know it's not a direct comparison, but it's kind of along the same vein, right? There's definitely an argument to be made for putting a cap on those things, removing those items that are not practical to get. And I'm not gonna decree which is better here. Sorry. I know you're not pushing for that. Do you think you could add item library where we could preview all items in the game so you wouldn't have to rely on third-party websites to plan builds? We have talked about this, and we have intentionally not put an item database inside the game, which I know is kind of opposite to what I just was talking about like, not just, but earlier in the stream when I was talking about wanting to have specific to not force players out of the game space very often, or at all if possible. And I don't know if it's necessarily a like if we're gonna look at like the player who's like, I'm gonna sit down and I'm gonna play the game and I'm gonna like let my build sort of evolve as I play and just take things that I think look cool. That player probably doesn't care about a database, or if they do, not until pretty late, like how I play on stream, basically. Stream Mike doesn't care about that database that much. At all. That's a good, I call it Stream Mike, I like this. Arxfin! Thank you very much for the sub. Glad to have you with us. I feel like I just answered a question from you. Hope I did okay. What was I talking about? Sorry. Oh yeah, previewing the game. It's something we've gone back and forth on adding, like an item database in the game. One thing I really want to add is a bestiary, and have it be like I want a Pokedex, which I know sounds ridiculous, but I want it to be like, you know, there's grayed out version of it. It's like, who's that Pokemon? And once you like, maybe if you've seen it, if you fought one, it like reveals information. If you fight 10, it reveals like some sort of like little lore tidbit that's cool. You know, that sort of thing. I think it'd be a ton of fun. It'd be super cool. Maybe having something similar for items would be neat too. I think if you're going to do it for items, you kind of need to put the information up front because people are going to be using it as a database to see what they could get. I don't know. We'll see what happens. I think it's a cool idea. We have talked about it. We intentionally didn't add one. That might not be permanent. That type of research and planning does lend itself very well to the, okay, I've got 8 tabs open type thing, you know? And mimicking just a good UI for that, like, that is, I think, tricky. Not impossible. Just because it's hard doesn't mean it's not a good reason to do it, though. Any chances of the end game being added being added to I read any chance of the end game being added before 1.0, and I'm like, yes. Being added to before 1.0, yeah, because right now it's pure grind. To be fair, I like the grind here more than any other game, but any changes, yes, there will be changes to the end game that will be available for you. If you boot the game up 1.0, endgame will not look the same as it looks right now. And that's like the most vague way to answer that question ever, because I don't know what I'm allowed to say or not. But there's cool stuff coming. I'll tell you that much. Hey, been a while since I last caught a stream live. Hello! Glad to have you here. Pretty good stream so far. I'm having fun. Enjoy myself. Loosey goosey. When can we expect the next dev blog or anything new other than the next update? Good question. Everyone's pretty heads down right now. I don't think there's a major dev blog in the works. There's one topic I could see getting dev blogged. I mean, there's a really big networking project that's happening right now that I think would make a really awesome dev blog that almost everyone would look at and go, this is the dumbest devlog anyone's ever written, and then there's like 4 dudes in a corner being like, yes, this is great. You know, so maybe something like that. There's another one that I think could be made that would be sweet. The person who would have to write the initial version of it is insanely busy right now. They are always insanely busy. All the best devlogs have been written by them, though, so All right. So I'll give you a maybe. Sorry, I don't have anything else on that. Any news for the update on the set items? I know it's not touched yet. It's not even started yet. I know that. So, not good news. But it is still planned. It's still going to happen. Don't worry. But I know there's not been any progress on it in a long time. Alright, working my way through. Sorry if I'm really far behind. I'm not that far behind. I really feel the ultra rare drops like that are worthwhile, because when someone does drop one, it becomes a community event of everyone talking about it and stuff, bringing everyone together and making a legend or whatever in the game. Yeah, and so yeah, that's kind of what I was trying to talk about a little bit earlier with the like, oh, you see one on the bazaar, you see one on a forum post, stuff like that. Yeah, it is a really cool moment. And as long as there's a functionally like 95% version of that item that is available to people if they try really hard, like if you're like, I'm gonna put in a ton of effort, and there's a decent chance with a ton of effort I'm gonna get this amazing item. That's not the that's not winning the lottery item. And yeah, so it's and that's what I mean. That's what I'm talking about when we started this whole topic. I was like, there's a really fine line. You stick one toe over either direction, and it sucks. And you can be like super close to it feeling awesome, and it feels terrible. And I think that's all. Like, people are bringing up really good points, and there's also lots of personal feelings and personal opinions that people have around systems like this that will vary really wildly. And I don't think there's a great one size fits all solution. And we're going to have to accept that there's some people that aren't going to be happy with whatever we do come up with in the end. And we've just got to try and make the thing that we think is going to be the most fun for the most number of people. All right. Just pinging for the questions above. I can do that. A few players have asked for a gear mob Pokedex too. Yeah. Would some kind of system that makes such a rare item visually distinct so people could know that something is incredibly rare, or be a motive for people to chase rare things over things that are positively impact their actual build gameplay? Big question. Let me see if I can wrap my brain around it. With some kind of system that makes such rare items visually distinct so people could know. Oh, so like some sort of like mega star on there, like a big like star, like, oh my god, this just dropped, make sure you don't leave this behind, like the chances of this happening are like 1 in a billion, oh my god, type notice. I think that'd be kind of cool. Yeah, I don't see, I'm not a UI designer, so I'm sure the UI lead would be like, no, Mike, here's why. Except he'd say it nicer. Anyways, I think it's a cool idea. I think it's a really cool idea, and I think that it's hard to detect those things in some situations. I mean, just like you get like any item that has more than like I don't know, any item that has more than 25 tiers of affixes on it gets like some sort of like visual flair to it. Maybe, you know, something like that, where it's like, oh my god, you found a tier 25 plus item, which are really mega rare. What's the highest possible? Weirdly enough, the highest possible total tiers on an item is not a 4x7, which would be 28. The highest possible on an item is actually sealing a T4, and because T6 and T7 are exalted and drop only, in order to seal an affix, it has to start with 3 T7s and a T4 to seal. So you start with 3 T7s and a T4 to seal. You seal a T4, and you're 25, and then you can get 5 more. You get to 30. So 30 is the highest, and it's not the one that what you'd think would be the highest. But yeah, anything over about, what did I say, 25 is bonkers. Biggity biggity bonkers. Oh, that hurt. Ow, my face. I caught up. What's StarCraft building? It's not mine. Someone else made that up. It's great though. If you know. Time for a teaser? Yeah, you're right. Big time. Nice dance to clip. You're only allowed to clip it if you can tell me what StarCraft building that is. All right, here's a little teaser for you because I died, and I offered my penance to you in this concept art. I didn't even look at this. I may have just slapped the image and have been like, I'll see it when it's on stream. I can't see, it's too tiny. That's cool. Oh, I know what this is. I know what this is. I really like it when they put the little, like, the material references in there. In the concept art. Big fan. No leaks. No leaks, don't worry, no leaks, I'm good. I'm rock solid. Rock solid. Does it say it's 2021 somewhere on that image? No. Oh yeah, that's just yeah, that's someone slapped like just overlay on it. The art is not from 2021. Can't have a regular without a mimic. I thought they did the mimic in the D&D movie. It was really good. I really enjoyed that movie. I feel like I was the absolute, like, the like, they're like, who are we gonna make this D&D movie for? Mike. Let's make Mike a D&D movie. Okay, here we go. Because, like, I've played just enough D&D to get, like, most of the references and, like, understand generally the, like, nuances of, like, most things that are happening. But, like, there wasn't a ton of, like, super advanced stuff that you needed to know. It felt like I went and watched a bunch of, like, things you missed from D&D movie video after the fact, and I'm like, yeah, the stuff that I totally missed. But, like, not that much, really. I thought they hit the sweet spot for someone who's played a little bit of D&D, but not a ton. That spawns Ovis. Good stuff. Good stuff. Give you one more of those to round out the stream at the end here when we're done this echo. we got time for 2 more. It's exciting. Give me that gold. I love gold. Go race to the finish. Seal the reef gate. Someone posted the VFX for one of the warlock skills that'll eventually be there in 1.0. One of the new ones, and like you know, like you talk about something in a concept art phase and like a design phase, and you're like, oh, this would be cool, like maybe we can make it do something like this, yada yada yada, and then like someone implements it and somehow just knocks it out of the park, and you're like, yeah, that's what happened. It was cool. I liked it. If you're watching, you know who you are. Good job. Loved it. Alright, Mike, don't trip at the finish line. Feels like it's gonna happen. Oh, I thought it was the last wave. Hey. Here we are. Have you guys considered an endgame system more similar to maps, where you pay a price to open the map? The rewards are better in addition to the monolith, or is it just dungeons? Yeah, I was about to say, you know how dungeon keys don't stack right now? You know how maps don't stack? You know why maps don't stack? It's because they have specific mod rolls on them. All right. Once more, because you've all been so great. You thought you were saying they're gonna stack? Yeah, they probably will stack. We considered having, we were considering doing dungeons with the keys having properties that you can roll into them, which is why they don't stack now. But I don't think we're doing that, so I think they probably will stack. Actually, you're probably right. So they'll most likely end up in here. This is where I think they'll end up, or somewhere very similar to this if they don't end up in here. All right, that'll about do it. Here we go. I had a great stream. I had a ton of fun. Thanks for stopping by. I had a ton of fun. I hope you did too. If I didn't answer one of your questions, or you just missed the stream and you'd like to ask some questions to us, we are very active in our Discord. There's an Ask the Devs channel. Feel free to stop by, ask us questions. There's also an Ask the Community channel, where a lot of helpful people can help you out with various things, issues you're having, questions you have about the game, all that sort of good stuff. We're also pretty active on other platforms around the internet, and hope to see you around. Let's go. Let's go say hi to someone. Oh my goodness, Mike, learn how to use a mouse? Thank you. Oh, yeah, we'll see you next time. I'll be here same time, same place next week. And if you haven't heard, we'll also be in Gamescom in about a month from now, almost exactly. See you there. Bye.